Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Drug Court. I'm Judge Martin. Sorry, I'm juggling two computers here. Want to start with a couple of announcements. Those of you who were with me last week, this will be a little bit redundant. Sorry about that. But first and foremost, wanted to thank those of you who were able to come out and join us for the half marathon. I guess it's about 10 days ago now on a Sunday morning. Really appreciate it. I know it was not possible for everyone to do that. Don't worry, you don't lose any points, but as noted, for those of you who were able to join, I got universally good feedback about drug court's contributions from all three of our workstations. Those of you who were able to join, I think on this call it's Ms. Sisemski and Ms. Flaherty. We will be factoring in a 2-week incentive. So other members of the team are helping me track that and figure out if you're about ready to phase anyway, we're going to just use it in your next phase. If it's useful in this one, which I think it is for both of you, then we're just going to consider that in our factor. You have to be in good standing to get the full benefit of it. If you're in the middle of a sanction or a violation, it makes it tricky. I do have a couple of gentlemen in that situation and I'm working with them. But to get the best benefit of your efforts, keep doing what you're doing and stay on in good standing with us. And I look forward to being able to make good on my promise when the time is right on that. The other thing that I wanted to update you on is the new handbooks. It's been a little while since I've mentioned that. Before the holidays, I believe everybody was given a copy by David Lawrence Center of the new handbook and offered an opportunity to review it, reminded that you should contact your attorney if you've got any questions or anything like that. Please don't ask treatment legal questions. Anyway, I promised back then to circle back and present you with a form that you could sign off consenting to being bound to the new handbook if you're comfortable doing that. Totally optional if you prefer to stay bound to the old handbook. Ms. LaBeouf, you came in under the new handbook, so it's moot for you. But for those of you who wish to, we give you that opportunity to opt into the new handbook. Either way is fine. Either sign the form consenting, or I've asked you just to write no if you prefer not to. That way, at least I get a written answer from everyone. Only the folks who actually sign on will, that piece of paper will go into your court file, so we've got it. Otherwise, it's just for my record. Like I said, the handbook, we feel pretty strongly doesn't affect anyone's substance. Your deal is your deal with us, but what we like better about the new handbook, and the reason everybody on the team, including especially the public defender, the reason we worked hard on that is to make sure that it was more clear, that it gave you a better sense of exactly what we require and how we operate. Quite frankly, we've already been operating under the new handbook for quite a long time, but I think you'll recognize when you look at it, a better explanation than maybe those of you who've been with us for a while had in that old handbook. So questions to your lawyers, give me an up or down vote. No hassles either way, but I just, treatment's gonna be doing the work of collecting those on my behalf. If you were in court, I'd be doing it myself. And I thank them for their help on that. Please don't bug them with questions, okay? Now a frozen computer, perfect. All right, those are my announcements. So let me switch to the docket and I'll call Ms. Reeves first.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon. How are you doing, Ms. Reeves?
I'm doing pretty well. A little tired, working a lot. My car broke down, so I'm trying to pay for that. It's actually ready today, so.
Okay.
But it's okay. It feels good, you know. Something like that happens, and normally I'd have to go to my parents, and they would take care of everything for me, and it feels good to be able to do it myself. So.
Okay, good. I know you were mentioning last week the possibility that you might just go ahead and make a restitution payment, but it sounds like having some emergency funds might have been a good thing. Were you able to do both, or how'd that work?
Yeah, no, that's been paid since before last Tuesday, actually. I think it was last Tuesday morning I paid it.
Okay. Okay. And you were able still to manage the car emergency.
Yeah.
Good. Good. That's our goal. Those of you who are newer, I expect it may be a longer term goal before you get to where you feel like you could actually set aside some money. But of course, Ms. Reeves, if your car breaks down and you don't have a dime to spend on it and now you can't get to work, think of how many triggers stack up and how quickly that happens, right?
Oh yeah, my parents drove me to work over the weekend. My fiance was here, so he drove me to work. I was able to do it, and there was a little change in management at work, and actually my friend who's in recovery as well, who was the bartender, is now the acting GM. So he's been able to help me out a little bit with some extra shifts. So.
Okay. I know it was tricky there for a little while, so it sounds like that's a positive development for you.
Yeah.
Good. Good. Well, I'm pleased to hear things are going well. I'm always preaching financial sobriety because as you become able to do so, getting to where you're setting some things aside, you're in a seasonal job right now, so there's an off season that will come along before you know it. Cars break down, landlords increase rent, any number of things end up happening. And your ability to manage that eventually, without the help of the fiance or the parents or whomever else, really helps ensure that you're getting to call your own shots. Because I know sometimes those relationships that I just named, sometimes they've been difficult. They may be good now, which was great. I hope they are. But your ability to say, I'm rowing my own boat and I don't have to cut corners on my emotional well-being because I can afford to manage things. That just really helps ensure that you're choosing those relationships rather than defaulting to them, right?
Yep.
Good. Well, I'm glad to hear it. I know getting news from the team last week that we were considering you for moving on probably helped to put a little fuel in the emotional tank, right? And help you feel like you're making some progress.
Yeah.
Good. So other than the truck breaking down, any challenges, anything that's been a bit of a curveball for you this week?
No, nothing really. Just trying to take care of that and figure out, how I'm going to get where I need to get. But, like I said, I have a lot of support, so.
Good. Well, I did want to let you know we were able to speak as a team this morning and do a little bit of scheduling. We're going to propose exit interview next Tuesday after court. So I don't know if that's going to end up interfering with a work schedule or whether you're always off Tuesdays.
Always off Tuesdays.
Great. So it won't be a court week for you. You're always welcome, but it won't be a court week. But if you want to just use the same sign-on that you use for court, join us a few minutes before 4:00 and we'll talk to you after court next week. I look forward to that.
Me too. Thank you.
Good. Any questions or anything that you wanted to address?
Maybe just what you were mentioning before about the form. I probably don't have to fill one of those out then.
It is probably less relevant for you. So if you want to run it by your attorney, you can. One of the things I'll note that it does is make clear, again, what we've been doing for quite a while, which is that we have an aftercare once people move on, that we do keep people on probation and with some structure. So I'll leave it to you and your attorney as to whether you want to opt in. It is it certainly has more benefits for the folks who are brand new. That's why I'm happy Ms. LaBeouf and the others who are most recent are already operating under it. Less of a material effect for you, but still good for you to review it to make sure that all of that sounds like what you've been doing.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And so then the moving on would be the following Tuesday during court, right?
That would be tentative. I don't typically announce that because I want to see how the exit interview goes and how everything else goes. But that's usually our pattern. If everything's going smoothly and if nothing comes up for the team, then yes.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, wonderful. Any other questions?
That's it.
All right. Well, Ms. Reeves, I'm glad things are going well, and I'm glad to hear that some progress is being made on a few of the things that sometimes can be frustrating. So good for you. Don't ease up now that you've got a bit of a finish line in sight. The key is to change nothing and keep doing what you've been doing that's been working so well.
Absolutely.
All right. Nice to talk to you. I'll talk to you next week.
Thank you. See you next week.
And then let me check in with Ms. Gonzalez.
Hi, Judge Martin. How are you?
How are you doing? I'm doing great.
I'm doing well as well. Been
Good.
doing good. On my 6th and 7th step. So I started Drop the Rock, which is really cool. I'm actually pretty excited about getting deeper into that, and it's going well with everything that I kind of like have going on. I was sharing in a meeting recently, like I feel kind of weird that after my 5th step, like I didn't have this, crazy like experience, how everybody talks about, and I'm just like, am I doing it wrong, or like what's going on, and I was kind of beating myself up about it a little bit. But like I have to keep in mind that everybody's process, everybody's journey is different, so it's and it's cool. I've been working with my sponsor. I'm a little bummed that it's still over the phone and everything, but but with the other therapy that I've been receiving that you may know a little bit about, it's going really well with my steps. It's like, I don't know, they link up really well because I'm digging a little deeper like into my past and seeing like just different, like it all goes together, like the baggage that I've been carrying and all of that. So it's cool. It's really cool that everything's kind of like working itself out.
Good. Well, I love hearing that. Like I said, I know I've said this before, all of this is designed to be beneficial, and treatment is as rock solid on their game as they've probably ever been in the almost 10 years that I've been doing this. I think it was really smart of them, and it probably involves some significant courage and honesty on your part to be a partner in putting that treatment plan together. But I love hearing that you're feeling that it benefits you.
Yes, definitely. I'm really happy, and I'm happy that I feel like the reins are being loosened up a little bit, but I'm still able to talk to James and talk to Nikki and everybody, and I'm still pretty in close, like I'm pretty close with them still, so I'm able to kind of like talk to them and get their feedback and give them mine, and it's been working out well, so it's good.
Well, and I think that's great, and it's been nice. I talk about the new handbook. One of the things that the new handbook did was make explicit a split between treatment and the court. And what I mean by that is we freed up treatment as the standards require. We freed them up to do whatever they need to do with you and not let that hold you back in court. So you can phase, as long as you're doing well with my rules, you can phase. But treatment, if they've got more work to do, they're not stuck going at the same pace that I am. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's really cool. I'll be honest, I haven't really read through it. I got the package already, but I haven't really read through like the differences and stuff. And I know you've touched up on it, but that, I love that. I like that a lot.
We had, in the past, we had people who, we were postponing their moving on because they were still working trauma, or, various other things like that. Or we even, in some extreme circumstances, had some people kind of flip out or freak out or panic because they were about to move on and they didn't want to lose treatment. And now I think in part because we've got a new treatment team that isn't stuck with our old ways, they're doing a great job of really being flexible with you guys. And even with some of our aftercare people, keeping a tight connection if they still need, to work on some things. That I feel really strongly is giving each one of you, those of you who really take good advantage of it, it's going to give you so much more support and so much better, forgive the word, but better odds that you're going to stick with all the positive stuff that you've started here with us. So I'm really proud of how they're handling that.
Yeah, that's awesome. I was already told that when I do get into aftercare, like I will still be meeting with James and everybody at least, once or twice a month. So I was actually really excited about it.
Yeah, take advantage. Our head count is a little bit small during the pandemic, and it's freed up treatment, I think, to be attentive and really provide all levels of service. So I love when people take advantage of that. And, there's always gonna be folks that just say, well, I'm just gonna do what I gotta, and I'm gonna get through it. And that's okay, but boy, what a ripoff. And you're really taking good advantage, including with the other treatment center. I love hearing that that's helping you.
Yes, definitely. I'm so ecstatic that I don't think I would have done it like on my own. I think I definitely needed the nudge from the counselors and stuff, but I'm so happy that I did. It's like the missing piece for sure.
Good. Well, if you ever get to where you're looking for something to read, I know I've talked about it, but that book Untamed that I mentioned to you guys, the author of that has some very similar life experience, very similar. And I loved the way she addressed it and talked about it. So not a court order, but just if you ever find yourself with the time to either listen or read. I listened to it while I was out taking walks and getting a little exercise. But you were one of the folks I particularly thought about when I was listening to it because of the overlap with some of the details. And, I can tell you my life experience is different. It still had tremendous impact for me. So I don't mean to suggest that you can only benefit from people who have the same experiences, but definitely some cool, relevant stuff in there if you ever get the inkling to check it out. I think I left a couple copies at treatment. So.
Awesome. Yeah, I forgot about that. I wrote it down and I forgot. So I'm glad you reminded me.
I'm hit and miss with my reading. I go through spurts where I'm good at it, and then other times when I don't pick up a book for a long time. But just wanted to remind you it's out there, and I'm hopeful that when you listen to it or read it, you'd go, okay, now I know why she said that. There'll be some stuff that may not apply, and that's no big deal. But the stuff that does, honestly, it's like a 10-hour speaker meeting with some really cool insight. So,
okay, that's cool.
Yeah. Ms. Gonzalez, I wanted to go over a little bit of business with you as well. Treatment was reminding me that we are also coming up on time to schedule some things with you. I was going to propose to set you up for an exit interview in 2 weeks. So I would be talking to Ms. Reeves next Tuesday at 4 and be talking to you in 2 weeks, which is February 9th at 4. You okay with that?
Yeah, I'm definitely okay with that. Yeah.
Good. And I know even more so when it's not going to necessarily make any adjustment to your treatment. That remains between you and treatment, but you're making the necessary progress with us, and it's time to work on that next step. Do you feel like you're ready to do that?
I feel like I'm ready. Yeah, definitely. That's awesome.
Good. Well, the exit interview is nothing to be nervous about, although everybody seems to show up nervous anyway. But really an informal conversation with the team. You'll just use the same link a few minutes before 4 on that day, and we'll have a conversation and just kind of go over some things and work on preparation for phasing up to the next phase.
Do I have to have anything prepared? Like, I don't know, nothing?
No. And the case managers are pretty familiar, so they can answer questions if anything occurs to you after today. But no, it's really informal. It's our chance to check in with you and just kind of, like I said, help you prepare, help make sure that you're thinking about the stuff that we have learned to worry about over the years, and just kind of get you ready.
Awesome. I'm excited.
Good.
Also, Judge, I'm chairing my first meeting on Thursday, so that's really exciting.
Okay. What's the Thursday meeting?
It's actually a women's meeting. Remember, I think it was a couple weeks ago, I had told you that I was kind of like getting into more women's meetings and stuff. So this it's small, but I think it's perfect for, for like my cherry being popped.
So are you nervous? Are you nervous at all?
Oh, I mean, yeah, I'm definitely nervous, but it's kind of like an open meeting, so I think the lead will be pretty easy, but I definitely want to kind of get over that stigma or that, I don't know. It seems so scary, but we should all be like on the same level. So I know once I start doing that, I'll feel a little bit more kind of comfortable, and maybe I'll, and I have my home group, so I want to be able to kind of do a little bit more service in there, but that's like it's the Sunday night speaker. So it's just like a lot of men and like a lot of people. It's like 35 people. When I had to speak, I spoke for my first time. It was nerve-wracking because it's just, you know, a room full of like older men. So it's just weird. But I'm excited for, you know, for this Thursday meeting. I think that I'll feel a little bit more comfortable.
Well, I can appreciate that it's a little bit nerve-wracking, and I think what you have outlined makes a lot of sense. That you found a meeting that's a good fit, and you're going to step up and take on a service commitment with that meeting. I think what you were saying a second ago is you're anxious to get the first one under your belt, because it really will be easier each time you do it. You know that, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah, it'll take away the shock value of it, you know.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I think you're doing some really smart things. I think it's important for the women to plug in with the women. It's important for the men to plug in with the men, and to create a little bit of space each week that's just theirs, because it is different, right?
Yeah, definitely.
And I also think what's very smart about what you're doing, particularly as you prepare to move on, is growing that network, expanding your connection to the rooms, and taking on a service commitment that creates accountability and structure. And so when you move on from us, you don't go to zero, but the accountability and structure definitely goes down. And so what we challenge you to do is build your own accountability and structure. You've got a network that'll hold you accountable. You've got some service commitments. You're really setting up a smart program there. So I'm thrilled to hear it.
Yeah, I definitely want to keep the accountability, but obviously I'm going to have to find different areas for it to come from. So
yeah, absolutely. And your sponsor, other members of your network, your service commitments, those all create structure and they create accountability. If you don't show up, people are going to be calling you. That's a good thing, right? They care, they're invested in how you're doing. It keeps you from being able to isolate or disappear, which would be a very dangerous move, but one that would come very naturally to you if you started to have a hard time. So it just helps take over. I tell people sometimes, give them my robe. You're going to get away from me, but you can really figuratively give my robe to others in your network and carry on with the same structure and accountability for as long as you choose it.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, good. Well, Ms. Gonzalez, I'm really excited to set some dates with you and work with you to prepare for the next transition. Of course, the name of the game is change nothing, and you're really setting up things that I think are going to make that transition smooth. Hopefully, you won't even notice.
Awesome. Yeah, I hope so too.
Good. Well, anything else that you wanted to address or anything you wanted to clarify?
I believe that's it. I got the whole probation fines thing figured out, so that's good. And yeah, I think whenever I have questions, I'm always able to reach out to David Lawrence and stuff. So I'm good.
Good. Well, I love hearing that. Keep speaking up. Keep asking for help if you need anything at all.
All right. Thank you, Judge.
Okay. Thank you. And you are in phase 4, so you also can drop off. Everybody else will stay with me for the duration of the call. I'm going to go by seniority today, so I'm going to call Ms. Sisemski next.
Hi, Judge.
How are you doing?
I'm good. Sorry about the noise. They're doing work, and then I've got people in my house. I can try to go to my room.
Okay.
Of course, they just started making noise across the canal.
Oh, okay.
I think they're replacing tiles, but I'm doing very well. Let's see. Work's going well. I caught the stomach bug Friday, so I've been off since Friday. They started giving me Tuesdays off when I have court, so I'm off Mondays. So I've had 5 days off, so it was very nice. Yeah, I'm feeling much better. I was feeling better Saturday, but they were like, stay home. And then we're off Sundays anyway. So, yeah. And then Mondays are my day off normally. And then they just gave me today off for court, and so I'm very well rested.
Good.
Yes.
You were, I think we were talking about you were going to have perhaps a speaking engagement. Did that happen yet?
Yes, I was gonna do it Monday, and I was worried that I might still be like asymptomatic, like because I caught it from my son and my daughter, and I don't know how long it stays around.
Okay.
Um, I I'm still really nervous about going places, and I have to watch my sister this weekend, so I'm thinking, or this week, tomorrow. So I'm thinking probably next Monday. And he had someone to cover for me this week. So, and I think I'm still just really nervous. I've never told my story in front of anyone before. Like, I'm building it up to be more than it is. I know I am. But it's something I really do want to do. I think I still haven't given my history, like, in groups. And I think that might kind of help, like, to tell it for the girls. And then, like, once I hear it out loud, you know?
Yeah, I can appreciate that. I know when we talk to people in their exit interview to prepare for moving on, we talk about the fact, obviously they share their story when they move on, but I'm a big proponent of preparation and really, even if it's just a little note card with a couple little one-word prompts to yourself to just kind of give yourself, something to keep your mind on track. And keep you kind of moving in the right direction, in the right order, it can really, really help take that anxiety down. So I recommend it just as strongly for any speaking setting as I do for moving on. Maybe you think about that. The drug history, I know, is also good practice.
Yeah, I've definitely written it down a few times, which is a big change for me. Like, I've always been kind of a fly by my seat of my pants kind of person.
Yeah.
I was big into improv and stuff in high school, so I'm really good at just making stuff up on the spot. But when it's your own life, you're not really making it up. You're just kind of. But I always end up forgetting stuff, so
that's the key.
Yeah.
That's the reason I preach the preparation, and I'm looking at the three of you. I've got three excellent students here, so I know I can say this to all three of you. No matter how experienced you might be or how good you might be at improv or whatever else, when it's important, prepare it. And in this particular type of a setting, it can make you more nervous than it might have made you, back in your school days to do an improv performance. It's different. But if you spend a little bit of time, and it won't take you long, the story. But if you spend a little bit of time just kind of organizing your thoughts and putting in a little bit of preparation, I'm confident that a couple of things, it'll make sure you don't miss anything that you really meant to include. It'll make sure you don't ramble. It'll make sure that your nerves are as low as they can be. And it'll also make sure that you maximize your impact. That's a gift whenever you do that. And, if you fly by the seat of your pants, you're kind of ripping people off a little bit. So okay. I think there's, I'm going to keep encouraging you to do it when the time comes, because I think it'll be really important and really positive for you.
I agree.
Good. Anything else going on? Anything that we can be helping you with?
I feel like I'm making progress with my custody case. I went down to the courthouse yesterday. It was kind of frustrating. Jason got back to me and he was like, just go to the courthouse and you can open the case yourself, because I've been unable to reach my my attorney.
Okay.
I get to the clerk of courts and like, well, you need documents, like documentation, but they can't tell me what documents I need. I was able to find some forms online. I'm hoping those are the documents. So I'm actually going to reach out to Rex and see if he can give me any guidance. I figured that would be some legal advice. So
okay.
If he's on the call, look out for an email.
I know
but,
it's
but
he may be able at least to give you a direction to move in.
Yeah, because I'm frustrated, everything's complete. It's time to open the case. And I'm at a good point, I think we can, I know we can it's time.
Okay.
So other than that, everything's fantastic. So
Good. Well, I'm glad to hear it, and I just encourage you to, as you've already suggested, to follow up and keep working on that. Don't give up, and hopefully you will be able to make your way into that court so that you can show them what you've done.
yeah.
Can I interrupt for a second?
Sure.
So Ashley, if you go to the Collier County Clerk of Courts website, they have like lists of paperwork for free. They might be able to, or you might be able to find something on there. And then also if you set up appointment for legal aid, they'll sit down with you and they might be able to give you some documents also for it.
Okay. Yeah, they handed me a sheet with a bunch of numbers on it that I called legal aid. I left a message. I'm waiting to hear back from them.
If you want to call me, I can't do any of that for you or give you really legal advice on that, but I can point you in the right direction and at least give you a general idea of what you need to do.
Yeah, that's all.
Just
That's
give me
all
a call tomorrow or the next day.
I appreciate that, Rex. Thank you.
Sure.
Good. Mr. Darrow, Ms. LaBeouf, thank you both. I
Awesome.
appreciate that. And it is, Ms. LaBeouf is right there. The clerk's website does have a whole bunch of forms, and you may or may not find something useful, but it is a good place to start your search, and legal aid is always good. If they can't help, they may be able to route you somewhere. There's also, in the case managers, I can't remember if this probably dates back to Jason's early days, but it's been a while since I've mentioned it. I believe the Florida Bar, I know the Florida Bar has a service, and I cannot recall what the web link is, but you could Google Florida Bar free legal advice. And I believe they've got lawyers who are basically you pitch your question, and then some volunteer lawyer from the state will grab your question and try to answer it. They don't handle the case, but similar to what Mr. Darrow's offering, it may be also a little way to get some free direction.
Yeah.
I can't recall the exact details of it, but that's out there, because I saw a report recently as to how many people they helped with that service in 2020. It was astronomical. So that's another resource that comes to mind as I listen to you.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad I said something. I appreciate it.
Yeah. We certainly want to see you get whatever you're able to get from that avenue. I know I say this often. My parents who are pursuing reunification with their kids far and away tend to have the best outcomes in our court, because that motivation is very, very powerful. So we'll support it any way that we can.
Appreciate it.
Good. All right. Well, Ms. Sosemski, keep up the good work. And like I said, the team will be letting me know when your next phased anniversary minus 2 weeks rolls around. And as long as everything's going smoothly, I'll be excited to move you ahead a little bit early.
All right. Thank you, Judge.
Keep up the good work.
Thank you. I will.
I'll check in next with Ms. Flaherty.
Good afternoon, Judge.
Good afternoon, Ms. Flaherty. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm okay.
How was the volunteer experience the other day?
Yeah, I always like, doing something with the girls and the counselors outside of the normal. So that was fun. I always do work the night before, so I do get a little exhausted, but I did have a kind of crappy weekend because I had really bad car trouble, same as Lisette. So that kind of threw a wrench in the mix, but I was able to still make it. So I was a little stressed out, but I was glad that I was there because I had a lot of questions. So what ended up happening was my car overheated on the way up from work. And this was something I've been fearing for a long time because I am on curfew. And, a cop pulled me over, and I'm thinking, oh, thank God, a cop, he's going to help me. And of course he was like, you're on probation, step out of the vehicle. So it ended up turning into, a very stressful situation for me. Luckily they were able to contact somebody, I think the lieutenant, I forget the name, and let me go. But, once they run my plates, it's like, all these questions. So I was really stressed out, but everything worked out except for my car. So my car was overheating. And I just got a call today. It's ready and it's $3,200 to pick it up. So, so that's stressful. I do have a little money saved. So, I mean, I have no choice but to deal with this at the moment. So they ended up giving me a loaner. So I don't really want to give it back because it's a brand new Chevy Equinox. I know they do this on purpose, you know, because I'm in there like, this is nice. But, so yeah, so that happened. And so that happened on like Friday night, and then the thing was on Sunday. So I was glad to be able to, because I stress out, you know, and I immediately reached out to my probation, letting them know I had contact with law enforcement. I immediately reached out to Brooke and did the same. And so everything, you know, I wasn't doing anything wrong, but I just get nervous. So, so yeah, so that's been a wrench in my mix. And what else? My daughter is touch and go. I did, you know, have a couple struggles with her this week. And then she bounces back the next day. So it's kind of like, you know, I don't know. She wanted to get her hair done. So I took her to get her hair done. She got it colored and fixed up because during COVID, she like, cut her hair, like, you know, really short, like a cry for help or something. And I don't know if it was that. At first it was like, it was cute bangs, and then it was like a crop top, and then I came home and it was like, you know, really short. And so this, I was hoping to give her, you can tell that, like I said, when she goes out, she has a hood on. And so she really, you could tell her, you know, she was feeling herself, you know, after the salon. So it made me really happy. She was taking pictures and stuff. So that was nice. And then with my sponsor, everything's good. She had a family down, so we didn't meet last week, but we're gonna meet on Thursday, and I'm just still talking to her every day, and that's pretty much it. And then work's been a little annoying. So I work for Seed to Table. It's a new business, and they, you know, this year they weren't taxing us on our credit, on our cash tips. And then they, you know, they're again flying by the seat of their pants as well with this new business. And then they all of a sudden decided to like throw this enormous amount of money on my W-2, and like the same number for everybody. So it's kind of like everybody else is up in arms about it, like wanting to hire a lawyer. And I don't know, I'm really struggling with this because, I don't want to cause waves at my job, but what's right is right. And they offered to pay for it, and now they changed their mind, and it's going to cost me, I've heard, possibly $5,000 when I'm having this car trouble. And it's just like, you know, when it rains, it pours. But so yeah, that's just the kind of the stuff I'm dealing with this week, but just sober life problems. So everything else is fine.
Well, you certainly have a good attitude about it. And I don't know what to recommend, whether that's something that, I haven't actually heard of that before, but it makes sense that somebody might do that. But I have no idea what to recommend you do to get some advice on how to handle it. I can appreciate that's a huge curveball.
Yeah, I mean, I know somebody I work with, his ex-girlfriend is a tax attorney, but my thing is, do I want to cause waves? Because they absolutely 100% told us that this is why this job was so great, that they were going to take care of this expense for us. None of us put any money away. None of us had anything taken out of our checks. And then I got a W-2 for $43,000, you know, and I wasn't even there. I mean, I had my little, you know, like downhill spiral where I had to go to rehab for a little bit. So I'm wondering where this money is, you know, why everyone has the same number. It's a little weird. So, I mean, it definitely is something I should probably look into. I am totally I'm a naive person, and I trust very easily, and it's gotten me into much trouble in the past. So I don't know. Apparently there is going to be somebody there tomorrow or this week that we can talk to about this. And I'm just kind of like going in the herd of everybody else, you know, and following suit, I guess. So, but yeah, but that's what I told Brooke. I said, you know, I've spent this hand over fist, you know, $3,000 was a freaking week on, you know, in my drug life. So, you know, to fix my car and to finally take care of something that I had issues with this for a long time. Actually, it's, when I was I was in the hospital for 27 days, and my drug dealer had my car. And when I got it back, I had these problems that I just kind of drove with the check engine light on, and, you know, everything came to a head. So I knew I needed to get it done. It's, you know, it's something from my past. So that's frustrating, you know, knowing that I would never do something like that. You know, I would never let somebody take my car. It's my car. It's the one thing I had left, to be honest. And so it's just, it's good because it made me think of like, oh my God, I can't believe, I did these things and I never want to be in that place again, and it's just another thing I'm cleaning up slowly. It just kind of happened a little too close to the other thing. So.
Yeah. Well, I just encourage you to look into it. Like you said, that it sounds like they're going to give you some information. I don't know whether that's going to be reliable or just what they want you to think. But definitely, take reasonable steps to educate yourself and protect yourself. That's also part of sober life. I certainly don't want to see somebody who's working as hard as you are be taken advantage of or shortchanged in some way like that. So I don't know what specifically we could do to help, but likewise, if you go to that meeting tomorrow and you come out with, no clue, you might at least touch base with case management or with your attorney. I think you were with public defender to see whether they have any idea. I don't know if legal aid's doing labor and employment, but that's what that would be. But anyway, I hope you don't end up having to just, swallow it, and it's not fair. Rex?
I have zero knowledge or contacts in that arena. I'm sorry. I wouldn't even know where to send you.
Yeah, I could go with the private attorney. So maybe he, I feel like I paid a lot for what he did. So maybe he owes me one.
Yeah, there you go.
I've got expertise in a lot of areas that I don't use here, but that's not one I can even touch.
Okay, I appreciate it.
Well, your former public defender Abdul was actually a tax attorney before he came here, but that's a whole different thing.
Oh no, I had Jerry Bear. I had Jerry.
I know you had Will for the plea, but I think at some point you were assigned.
Yes.
Anyway.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Sorry, I got nothing.
All right.
Yeah, I don't have much. I think the folks I know doing that work are defending the employers. That's where, of course, the money is. But anyway, I just I hope you don't end up being taken advantage of. That's something I would not want to see happen to you.
Yeah. Me neither.
All right. Well, let me see if there was anything else that I did mention. You were in the same position with the 2 weeks. So as we get to if we get close to what would be your phase time, the team is poised to remind me to subtract 2 weeks again, as long as everything's still going smoothly. And others on the team have already sort of looked at that and figured out what those dates would be. So they'll tell me when I can move you forward. But you've been doing great and keeping your focus with a lot of distractions thrown at you. Life's been a little lifey lately. But I just encourage you, keep asking for help if there's anything we can do, and keep doing what you're doing. You're doing a great job.
Okay, thank you.
Good job. And Ms. LaBeouf, let me check in with you next.
Good afternoon, Judge Martin.
Good afternoon. How are you doing, Ms. LaBeouf?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good.
I do have a question though.
Okay.
Is it possible for us to extend the time of my community service a little bit?
Okay, well, give me an update as to what you've got done and how things are going at this point.
So I've been doing it at the Naples Cat Alliance, like you suggested. Absolutely love it.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I even got my cat mom shirt
I
on.
saw that. Yeah.
I have cat shoes too. Let me tell you what. These things.
Oh, very nice.
It's like my whole outfit thing. Yeah, I love it. But so they have it early in the morning.
Okay.
Or in the evenings.
Okay.
In the evenings, I'm able to get like 2 hours in, but in the morning, it's only about an hour because the people get there, they feed them, and they go.
Okay.
Versus in the evening, I did one night this past week, and I'm actually going again tonight to get more hours, but it was only 2 hours that I was able to be there.
Okay.
Because they were all ready to leave. And I went after I worked my shift at Pinchers. Okay. But like I said, today I'm going again. It's just trying to figure out my schedule and to fit it in, or to see if I'm able to like shift some of my things around to do more.
Okay. Well, it sounds like good progress. So you can see why I like that option for community service. Is there's no end to the work there, right? They can always.
No, I love it. Like, I get to baby cats that aren't my cats, that actually want me to hold them. My cats, they're just like want me to be around them when I have food. Besides my orange cat, he's a little mama's boy.
Yeah, yeah.
Girl cat, she's just like, you don't have food, I don't want you.
Well, it's good, and it's a huge service that they're doing, and I know they appreciate when we get folks that can go donate a little bit of time for them. So looking at your schedule, I think I had originally given you a deadline of Monday. Looking at your schedule and their schedule, what's your expectation as to how much you will have done by Monday?
I want to say, hold on, let me recount this really quick. I want to say I should be able to have like between 8 and 10 hours done by Monday.
Okay. All right. Well, let me leave it this way. I need the team's input on that. So what I'll simply say for today is I need you to keep making your best efforts as to what you can do. I never want to push someone into a bad situation where they're doing something that's either shortchanging their treatment or their kids or something like that. But keep doing what you're doing. I will talk to the team and we'll try to get you an answer by morning as to what we want you to do on that. Okay? Because I really need their input. I think we were talking about 16, so you're indicating you'd have 8 to 10 if it continues at this pace.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll get their input after court and see what they want to allow, if they want to keep the same deadline or how we want to adjust it. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. I really like this place. Let me just stress this fact. So after I'm done with the 16 hours for drug court, that's where I'm going to do the remainder for my probation. So I'll be doing the 16 and then separately 50.
Okay.
That's what I'm planning on.
Oh, fantastic. Okay. Yeah, and that's a good point, because these are separate, but I think that's it's good. I'm glad we were able to, like I said, I think when I handed this down, we're always pleased when someone can connect with a charity that is important to them, whatever it might be. So this is something that you have a connection to, and that's great, because it's really not intended to torture you. It's just a little bit of giving back. So that's great.
And out of all honesty, after you mentioned it, like I was sad. Like that's the only place I called. I was like, this is it. It's gotta be here.
I had this is my higher power, right? That idea hopped into my mind inexplicably, and I thought, wait a minute, this is good.
Yes.
Okay. Well,
it is a little bit sad though, like just a little bit, because there's over 300 cats.
Their work will never end, and you gotta promise me something. You can't be bringing anybody home. You got your hands full.
I can't. I cannot bring them home. The majority of them are honestly, they're sick.
Yeah.
And I don't want my babies to get sick either. As soon as I finished up there the other night, I went directly like home into the shower. Didn't touch my cats. I was like, let me wash the germs. I don't want mine getting sick. And then there's this one cat that follows me around. His name's Wilson. He's really big, fat, gray cat, but he's got like chronic sickness, and it's not like actual sickness because he's been on antibiotics, but it's like allergies. They can't figure out to what, but I started calling him Sniffles because he'll follow me. He's the only cat there that follows me, right? Because he knows I'll pet him, and then he'll just be in the background and like follow me to my side. He's just so cute.
Well, I'm glad you are taking precautions and that you thought to do that, because you're very right. You made a commitment to the cats that you have adopted. you've got to keep a clean space for them. So yeah,
Yeah.
clothes in the washer, you hop in the shower and
Exactly. That's exactly what happened. And they got washed that same night. So that way it didn't spread anywhere.
yeah, that's good. That's very good. Well, I know your work is much appreciated there, and they're doing very good work, but you're right. It's bittersweet when you step into that space.
And also, I did connect with the lady on the other night. Her name is Priscilla. She actually is kind of like the same situation, but when she was younger. She's almost 70 now, but we were able to talk about our pasts, and she helped me figure out a few things, you know what I mean? And it was pretty cool.
I missed the first part of what you said. Priscilla's connected how?
Oh no, I connected with Priscilla there. She's one of the key holder people that go, and she's like a head volunteer.
Gotcha.
But yeah, we were able to talk about our pasts, and she told me her input, and it started out with her being like, what'd you do to end up here? She's awesome.
Good. Well, I love it. I very much want to see those situations become a positive. So I'm glad that you've made it so for yourself. That's great. I also wanted to note, I got your essay.
Did you see where I forgot the period at the very end?
I did. Of course, I promptly emailed Nikki and said, is there another page? This seems to not end. But then I read it more thoroughly and saw that it was probably meant to be a period there.
Yeah, I proofread it for 3 hours, and I was editing and adding, and then I forgot the period. And I noticed that right after I had got it to Nikki. I was like, oh, damn.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. But I thought, darn.
Yes, I was going to correct myself. I'm sorry.
You're not the first person to have that happen. But, I noted a couple of things that that I thought I might mention to you. One was a reference to journaling and trying to incorporate that. And I know it's tricky when you've got a really tight schedule, but I
have my journal with me, actually.
Actually, the more busy and stressed you get, the more important that journal becomes. So I like hearing that you're using that. And then the planner.
Yes, I have 2 planners right now.
Good.
One that fits in my purse and one that fits in my backpack with my laptop.
Good. Well, I think you've outlined some good changes. Of course, I just encourage you follow through on the plan that you wrote up for me. And the other note that you made that I think bears repeating because it's important, I've got all moms on the call at this point, and you've indicated it occurred to you, if I am not putting drug court first, I can't do anything for my kids.
Exactly.
So it's a bit of a trick that recovery, early recovery plays on parents. They want to put the kids first and then recovery, and it doesn't work that way, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So I can appreciate that is something that takes a minute for you to wrap your head around, but that's why the exercise of writing the essay hopefully helps kind of push you to dwell on that thought and make your peace with it.
Yeah. So the essay actually started out as me. So I journal on my computer too.
Okay.
So it started out with me just venting, and then because I couldn't think of anything for the essay, and then I was like, wait, I can turn this into my essay. So then I added the first part, and then under it I was like, okay, let me start this. It took me a second, and then my honors English classes started popping back into my head, and I was like, okay. We're good.
Okay, good. I know I've got all 3 of you should be headed to some higher education here at some point, whether it's during drug court or shortly thereafter. But I think that's good. And again, our goal with all of this isn't to kick you while you're down and you're overwhelmed, but really to force you to plan, to structure your time with that community service, to make it fit in with your obligations. and to force you to slow down on that essay and really think through some of the problems you're facing. So now I just want you, to follow the plan that you spelled out for yourself. And I think it's a good recipe. So anything else going on? Anything that we can be helping with?
No, I do want to say thank you to Nikki and Jason. They really had my back in my family team meeting the other day.
Okay.
Really stood up for me, because with my early childhood court, my kids' therapists have been a little not so nice or positive towards things.
Okay.
And they really had my back, and I really do appreciate that.
Good. Well, and I very much do too. We had some conversation this morning, and to my knowledge, I think you're the first person who has been in both courts at once. So there's a little bit of a learning curve for all of us, but we talked, we regrouped, and I was able to share with the rest of the team my discussions with Judge McPhee back when we talked about the possibility of anyone, not you in particular, but anyone being in both courts. And so the team is going to continue the conversation. We're going to do our best. That we all share the same goal, both teams and everybody on both teams, which is to reunite the best version of you with your kids, and to avoid pulling you in multiple directions when we don't actually need to. Sometimes we might have to, but we're going to try to avoid that. So the team, I thank them they're going to continue to work with your other team on that. Hopefully we'll get some of these bumps smoothed out and make it make a little more sense. But the biggest thing that I want to hit before I finish speaking with you is communication. You letting us know when you're overwhelmed, when you're jammed up, when you've got two things that aren't going to fit in the same time frame, and letting us know as early as you can, so that we can try to help with that. We don't have another set of rules that's the Gabrielle LaBeouf rules, but we do try to make sure that things make sense. And sometimes you're going to have obligations, but the sooner you communicate, that's part of your honesty pledge. And we're here to try to help. So where you got jammed up a week or 10 days ago was you didn't communicate. And when I talked to you in court last Tuesday, you said, I could have communicated better. So that's a great lesson, and one that if you carry that forward, like I said last week, if you can make this the worst thing that happens to you in drug court, you're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. So that planner, that journal, and that phone to communicate, those are your tools. And I know you're capable of using them and using them very well.
Yes, ma'am.
Good. So I think we've made good progress. I will get you an answer ASAP on the timing with the community service, but keep going, keep at the pace that you've been doing. And we'll see what, if anything, it may be that they get back to you and say, nope, we need a Monday, but keep doing your best on your end and I'll get you a quick answer.
Okay, thank you, Judge Martin.
Okay. All right, with that, I'll end court a few minutes early. It was really nice to catch up with all of you. Thank you again, those who were able to join at the race. We're going to work on having some more opportunities. And I know some of the folks that couldn't make it last time, hopefully we'll give you another chance here real soon to get out and be a part of something. I'm working on that as well. So ladies, keep up the great work that you're doing. You're doing an awesome job, and I'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
We'll be
Thank you.
in recess until the men's session. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Drug Court. I'm Judge Martin. I want to start off today with a couple of announcements. Some of you who were with me last week have heard some of this, but wanted to start by thanking those of you who were able to come out last Sunday to the half marathon and help out with that. Hopefully everybody had a good time. If you didn't, you had me pretty well fooled. It looked like everybody was enjoying themselves, enjoying being a part of a team effort together. And so I thank you for making time for that. And I hope you enjoyed it. And we're going to work on having some additional opportunities like that coming up soon, both for the runners to get a chance to actually run, and for the volunteers to get a chance to volunteer. And it is possible to do both. We've had several people do that as well. So I thank you for that. Those of you, I do have everybody's names. Those of you who were a part of that, I will be keeping track of my promise to shave 2 weeks off your phase. Treatment's helping me keep track of it. I was able to phase one gentleman last week who, by virtue of those 2 weeks, was due all of a sudden. Those of you who are in a sanction or a violation, we just kind of have that on pause. You've got to be in good standing, but what we'll do is it may just end up being something that I take off of your next phase. It may be a better benefit to you there. But we will follow through on that, and I am appreciative that everybody did step up. I know there are those among you who would have done it regardless of whether there was an incentive, and believe me, that shines through in the way that you walk in the world. But I'm also happy to reward the help that you all gave me. Second, I wanted to make the note about the new handbooks. I know treatment passed out a form to everybody this week with a note directing you. Any questions about the new handbook, direct them to your lawyer. If you are comfortable moving under the new handbook, you'll sign the paper and turn it into treatment. If you're not, just write no and turn that into treatment. You don't gain or lose any points for me either way, but it is something that we want you to consider. We obviously, everybody who's come in more recently is under the new handbook. It is consistent with the best practices, and frankly, even those of you under the old handbook should recognize that we're basically doing everything that we spelled out better in the new handbook. So it shouldn't be a real radical change, but that's for you to decide with the help of your lawyer. We just want to get a thumbs up or a thumbs down from everyone over the course of the next few weeks. So I thank treatment for helping me with that. I thank you guys for being diligent and getting that question answered and getting the sheet back to treatment either way. Let me just interrupt myself. Mr. Moreno, what's going on for you right now? You're in a moving car.
Yes, ma'am. I'm with my boss. I'm not driving though. I'm in the passenger seat. So.
Okay, but are you at work right now?
I'm not really working. No, we're riding to go. He's going to go dump the truck and stuff, but I'm not working. I mean. So.
Okay. Do you have headphones, or is your boss getting to enjoy our whole conversation?
I really don't have headphones, Your Honor, to be honest with you.
Okay. All right. Well, it's not ideal, but you're not in treatment. If you were in treatment, it would be a big problem because you've got to be able to be in a confidential space. We're in technically a public courtroom, but it is most definitely not my preference that folks be even in the seat of their work, unless you can really step away from work and have your court session. I really don't want you multitasking during court or during treatment. So I just wanted to make sure you're safe, you can focus, you're not driving, and you're not actively working, but you're going to be with us for the next hour and 15 minutes. He knows that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, I'd like to try to avoid that in the future, Mr. Moreno. I will compliment you. You signed on early today. You didn't wait to the last second, so I appreciated that at least. That's a good improvement. But in the future, I don't want folks who are essentially working while they're in court. Okay?
Yes, ma'am. I understand.
Even if you're kind of on a break, it doesn't quite work. Okay. So I made my 2 announcements. Let me check in now. Mr. Mattingly, I want to call you first, and then I'll touch base with my Phase 4 gentleman, Mr. Lanham.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Mattingly, I don't know if you've already had a little bit of conversation with the team. I think that they've got you there at David Lawrence. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Well, I think the team really, it was a very thoughtful discussion this morning. I have to tell you, and I'll go through with you what we're proposing very specifically, but I was thinking to myself, we had about 15 minutes between the ladies' session and this session, and I was thinking to myself, you know, just a few years ago, we would probably have terminated you from drug court for having these issues over and over again with us. I'm pleased that we're not talking about terminating you. We're not talking about something more drastic than we are. But as I think you can probably understand, we've got to step up a little bit here and get our arms around whatever it is that's going on for you. Specifically, what's come to my attention is that after we spoke last week, you did a nice job. You communicated with Brooke, you confirmed your appointment, you got her to accommodate, which I'm not sure if I would have done the same thing she did, but you got her to make an accommodation for you because you've got a new job, and you confirmed your appointment. And then the very next day, last Wednesday, you just flat out missed your appointment with Brooke. Is there anything that I need to understand about that? Anything that you want the team to understand?
The last few weeks that I've had appointments with Brooke, they've been canceled. She's called or texted me the day of or the day before and canceled them and moved them to the following week, and then canceled again and moved it to the following week. The last time she canceled, I spoke with James. He said he wanted to set up a time to do a one-on-one together. That same day, Brooke called me and set up the one-on-one. And I talked to her the day before. I did ask her if I could do it over Zoom. I worked my new job that I had just started that day, and the next day I ended up oversleeping about 50 minutes of the one-on-one. Okay. And I called her and I tried to schedule it for later or for, the next day or whatever, and she didn't have time, I guess, so.
Okay. Well, you shared a lot of information with me. Really, the only information that's relevant there is that you had an appointment and you missed it by oversleeping.
Yes,
the backstory is really not ultimately.
No, I overslept, and that's my own fault.
I guess what I'm concerned about is that it's at least the third instance of a drug court obligation being missed because of oversleeping. But that's something, lots of people have that happen once. Extremely few people have it happen twice, and you're in a very special company for having that happen the third time. Usually folks can correct that. Now, last week I was very gentle but firm, I hope, and I said, look, your behavior is consistent with someone who's using. I don't know if you are, but if you are, I was begging you to be honest with us. And I gotta tell you, I'm so surprised that I've got now another instance of missing a drug court obligation because of oversleeping. I'm very worried about you, to be very honest. Not something people typically, certainly people who are living clean, not missing a 10 a.m. from oversleeping. And the 10 a.m. was set to accommodate your job. So did you oversleep and miss work too?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Well, let me get to the point, as I'm really not here to torture you. I am here to give you an opportunity to tell me anything and everything you want me to understand. We've proposed something in terms of a consequence that has a few different aspects to it. It's meant to be a combination of a consequence, obviously a bit unpleasant because now I've got basically a third instance of just not making the necessary adjustments. But it's also meant, as everything is that we do here, it's also meant to have some therapy basis to it, to be what we call therapeutic. So specifically what we're talking about is this. They have probably made you aware that I have an order prepared for you to be remanded to custody today, right after court, and that you would stay until Monday morning. Are you aware of that part of it?
Yes, ma'am.
You're going to be safe and you're okay with them transporting you so that you get there directly?
I mean, I was told I don't really have a choice. My fiance's at work. She gets off in a half hour. I asked if I could pick her up from work and have her drop me off at the jail.
Yeah. And I thank treatment for offering to do this. I have had Mr. Mattingly. I don't know you well enough to know really how you're feeling right now, other than I know you're upset. But I've had some folks make some really poor decisions when they knew they had to go into the jail. And treatment is there to ensure that you're safe and that you get there directly without any detours. And I thank them for doing that. So that is the biggest and hardest part of what we're proposing, that there'd be a jail sanction and that you would stay in until Monday morning. Nikki would pick you up and bring you out. The next piece, when you get out, you'd call probation to check in with them, let them know you're out. And then Nikki may have some instructions as far as getting you checked in with them. While you're in the jail, I want you to do some work. Part of the reason we resisted putting you in jail for the last problem, and we gave you the weekend work program instead, is jail, frankly, is easy. Jail is unpleasant, but it's a lot of sitting around. And I need you being productive while you're in there. So it happens to be an off weekend for the weekend work. Your weekend work sanction is still in place. You're on the roster for next weekend, but this weekend you'll stay with us. And I want you to do some writing. I need you to persuade us, Mr. Mattingly, that this is something that you want, that the drug court opportunity is something that you understand and you want. And I need you to tell us what you plan to do differently when you get out on Monday. Because it's possible, I hope you won't, but drug court's voluntary. It's possible that you go into that jail and you say, you know what? I've enjoyed about as much a drug court as I can handle, and I want out. Guys have done that before. I'll respect it if that's your choice, but I hope you'll stay. I want you to write up for me why we should let you stay and what you're going to do with the opportunity. I think sometimes you get into drug court and it's natural to start to think of it as an obligation that weighs you down, and you forget about the fact that it's an opportunity that's pushing you forward. I need you to be thinking about that this weekend while you're in there, and think about, is this something you want? Do you want to come back in when you get out on Monday, and what are you going to do differently? You're going to hand that writing assignment in to Nikki when you get out Monday, and I've already notified the jail to make sure you've got paper and something to write with, okay? So we've got that you're going to be in jail. We've got that you're going to do an essay while you're in there. You'll get out Monday. You'll call probation and follow Nikki's instructions. You'll keep the weekend work sanction. I have not erased that, so you're still on that. That's an old sanction, but I just say that for clarity. And the final piece of this is that the case managers or someone from the treatment team is going to have you check in with them daily. So no later than 8:30, you're going to show up at David Lawrence Center each morning. So that would start Tuesday morning because you're going to get out Monday. But Tuesday morning and every morning until we say stop, you're showing up at David Lawrence in person no later than 8:30 in the morning to say, here I am, check in with them. They might keep you 30 seconds. They might keep you a bit longer, whatever they say goes. But it is a sanction we have used in the past with good results. Our folks who couldn't wake up on time, our folks who couldn't organize their schedule have done better after they've worked on that sanction for a little while. So it'll be in place until the team decides it's appropriate to lift it. But that's the whole sanction: the jail time, the writing assignment while you're in there, reporting into treatment daily by 8:30 a.m. And then, like I said, the weekend work sanction remains as previously ordered. Do you understand everything I've laid out? I know it's a bit lengthy.
Yeah.
Do you want to accept that, Mr. Mattingly, or do you want to have us proceed with a formal violation? Those, unfortunately, are the only two options that I have.
I guess I'll proceed.
Okay. I'll sign the order then that puts that sanction in place. We'll have it filed with the jail here momentarily, and whenever treatment is freed up to transport you over there, I thank them for doing that. I can appreciate for the next couple of days, your thoughts might not be as clear as they might be by the weekend, but I'd like to have you really push yourself to do some thinking while you're in there, put your thoughts on paper so we can see them. And that'll help us know whether you're in it or whether, the lawyer just needs to negotiate something for you to plea out of drug court. It's not what I want, but if it's what you want, I respect that. Like I said, I'm not here to torture you, but do the work, put some thinking in, and then when you get back out, we're going to be focused on having you do some things that are aimed toward helping you get used to a healthy routine that wakes up on time and meets your obligations. The world's going to require that of you even if you tap out of drug court. So we better figure out how to solve that problem together. Okay? Is there anything else that you want to say or clarify? Anything else that we need to understand about what's going on?
No, ma'am.
All right. Well, I'll say one last thing, Mr. Mattingly. It's not anything you need to discuss here with me, but if there is anything else that treatment needs to know about what's been going on in your world that's got you so turned around that you're missing things, I'm going to encourage you again, respect the honesty pledge you've taken. Delayed honesty is always better than no honesty at all. Be honest with them. Let them know what's going on. That way we're going to be able to make a treatment plan that makes sense, that doesn't set you up for repeated failure. And if it's just, man, I just can't organize myself, well, then our sanction ought to be able to help you with that. Okay?
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Mattingly, I'll let you drop off the call and treatment can direct you from here. Good luck. I will see you next week for court. Okay, Mr. Lanham, let me call you next.
Long time no talk. How you doing, Your Honor?
I'm doing okay, Mr. Lanham. How are you doing?
I'm all right. Can't complain too much.
What's been going on for you?
Just trying to pay my restitution, get to my meetings. I've been helping my brother a lot with back to doing shutters. And I know that's like a concern of yours, me getting back into construction and stuff like that. But working with my brother, like, he understands, he knows my situation. He never tries to force me to do too much. If I need to sit down, I can sit down. Like, he's really easy to work with. I make really good money when I do work with him because I make like a percentage of the job. So the harder I work, the more I get paid, the more we get done. So.
All right. I have a few questions on that. Let me send a message to my assistant real quickly on that last matter. All right, I didn't want to forget to get the order done on Mr. Mattingly. So yeah, I'm absolutely fine with you working in construction. You know what you're capable of safely doing better than anyone. So if you say, Judge, this is within my capabilities, I'm safe, then I'm good with that.
But I mean, other than that, everything's been going pretty smoothly. I know you guys were a little concerned last month because like I paid at the end of the month, which I'm doing again this month. But I am making the payments. I am trying my best to be on top of it and remind myself to get on and make those payments. Just because I don't want to get messed up at all. You know, I've came way too far and gone through way too many hoops to mess up something so dumb, you know.
Are you also working at Beachbox still, or have you finished there?
I told them that I'd like to do some part-time stuff, so they're trying to like shift the schedule around and figure that out, just because it is not within my means to work all day and then go work all night. I just cannot be up that long. And she's extremely understanding. She's like, didn't argue with me at all. She's like, I get it. She's like, you're way too smart in the construction field and have way too much of an opportunity to move forward and make more money to be standing in the kitchen all day. So and she can't afford to pay me anymore. And she knows that I need to make more to make my restitution payments, to, you know, pay my bills. She knows that like I'm used to making way more money, and I'm not making nearly enough money to even get by working there. So she's like trying to shift the schedule around to try to keep me, just because she does like me working there. So we're trying to figure that out. But for now, it's just helping my brother on the side and then going there whenever they need me.
Okay. Well, you're smart to make sure you don't overload yourself. Everybody's got their own limits and they're all a little different, but you don't want to get too much on your plate.
Yes, ma'am.
So I know the boss at Beachbox was helping a little bit with restitution. So you figured out a way to navigate that and make sure that you're fair with her, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely. And now that I'm making more money, I basically just told her like not to worry about the payments anymore, just because it like, I don't find it fair on her end for her to feel so obligated to help me. And like, I'm a grown man, you know, I'm a grown up. I need to figure out my own stuff. I can't, and I don't like relying on somebody, because if she messes up, it doesn't fall on her, it falls on me. And I don't like being in that position. I'd rather just, even if it's just $100 a month, you know, I know that I can make that payment. So I'm going to make that payment, and I don't want to have to rely on somebody else.
Okay. Well, I agree. It's difficult if there's a problem on her end and it's you that we're dealing with. Plus, just from a recovery standpoint, you know, ultimately you want to be responsible for your own things, and that's part of what recovery pushes you to do, is to be accountable and responsible. So I like this setup better. We just need to make sure that you're staying on track and that the payments are being caught up. Are you going to be able to make some progress on this, or what do you foresee?
Yeah, I'm just trying to get caught up on my bills. So I had lost my truck. One, I couldn't continue to make the payments, and two, the engine was going out on me. So I gave them back the truck, and a buddy of mine gave me a car, and I've been trying to like put as much money into the car as I can, so that way I'm not stuck on the side of the road. So I'm trying to like fix this car up, and making really good money with my brother is helping me. So I'm definitely going to get caught up eventually. I mean, it's just, there's no really telling when, you know what I mean? Like I'm not going to go out and do anything crazy to earn money. So
no,
it's just kind of like out of my hands at the moment. Like I make what I make, I'm going to pay what I can. And anything other than that is just kind of, I don't know.
Okay. Well, I can appreciate that, and I'll warn you, because people get surprised by this all the time. Even if you turn the truck in, you may end up owing them money. You know that, right?
Yes.
Okay. I see that, unfortunately, in what I call my day job as a civil court judge. I see it all the time. People say, I gave the car back. And unfortunately, they can still collect if there's more that you owe on it. So keep an eye on that. But what I think we need to get to, Mr. Lanham, and it was just apparently an oversight that you weren't put on any of my dockets for the last few weeks, but what we've agreed as a team is that I'll put you on this docket every 4 weeks. But I need to get, to the extent possible, I need to get kind of a firm answer on what you expect to be able to do consistently on the restitution. My memory is that if you're looking at something like $100 a month, that may be, you know, the best that you can do. But my memory is that's going to take you
more than my probation time.
4 years or something to get where you need to go. So what I might ask is that you sit down with probation and figure out probation and/or case management, figure out your budget based on what you're currently doing now that you've got the housing and the job and the vehicle and so forth that you currently have, and figure out what you think you're going to be able to do, because we need to at least have, I have to have some accountability that, you know, what is the amount that the state attorney, the probation officer, and the rest of the team can hold you accountable to pay on time each month. That's really what the question becomes.
Okay.
So I would say sit down and work on a budget, and it may be something that we need to, I'll have you run it through maybe something that we share with the team to say, okay, here's what Mr. Lanham's making, here's what he's spending, here's what he's got available for restitution, and what do we want to do about it? Because I don't really want to, no offense, but I don't want to spend the next 3 years in the posture that we're in right here. So we're going to have to figure something out.
Yeah, no, I get it.
So I'm going to have you work on that. Work on a budget that you can actually turn into the team.
Okay.
It shows what you've got going on, and that way the team can have a conversation and give you some direction on what we want to see done there. I am mindful that I need to stay within what is a reasonable limit on your ability to pay, but it also may be that you've got to make at least some difficult choices. It may be that this particular repair on the car waits this month until after you've got the restitution squared away. I mean,
yes, ma'am.
Those are the adult choices you just referenced, right? They're not all perfect, unfortunately. We'll be reasonable with you, but I need to make sure that we also have some accountability there.
Yes, ma'am. So I'll draw that up and get that turned in, and we can go over whatever it is. And then so I'm just going to be on the last Tuesday of every month.
Yeah, I think we can do it that way. That's fine. But I'd like to, between now and next Tuesday, so that at next Tuesday's staffing, the team can be talking about what you've turned in. I'd like you to put in that budget, because I think, let me see if I've got off the top of my head what your, here we go. February 4 is the next date that I've got for you. So that's next Thursday for the violation of probation. Next Thursday, 10 a.m. So if you will get that turned in time for my next Tuesday staffing, then we'll be able to give you some guidance, let you know whether I need you to hop on the Zoom for next Thursday at 10 to speak further about this, or whether I can excuse you from that.
Okay.
Depend on what you give us by Tuesday.
Yes, ma'am.
So get it to David Lawrence on Monday if you can, so they've got time to turn it around to the rest of the team.
Okay.
Any questions, anything you want to clarify about any of that?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Lanham, nice to see you, and I'll look forward to hearing what you've got next week.
All right, thank you.
Okay, and you may drop off the call, and then I think that's everybody that I have from the fourth phase. All right. Let me check in with Mr. Paradiso.
Hello, Your Honor. How are you?
I'm doing okay, Mr. Paradiso. How are you doing?
Doing awesome. I can't complain. Work is going good. As I've been saying in group, about to be 30 on Monday. So, yeah. yeah, it's pretty scary, but yeah. But yeah, everything is awesome. Everything is awesome at the moment. I really can't complain.
How are you feeling about that 30th birthday? Do you care? Is it exciting? Is it terrifying? What do you think?
The number's terrifying. The number's terrifying. No, but it's gonna be nice. I get to see my family. And as I mentioned yesterday, this is in my group. It's like the first time in my life that I'm in the moment, that I'm actually here. I'm actually present. And I'm creating memories that I know that I'm actually gonna remember.
Yeah, there you go.
That's the best part about it, because I honestly try to think about it earlier, and I don't even remember what I did last year for my birthday. Yeah, I'm actually in the moment, and it feels really good.
Good. Well, I very much support that, and I will tell you this. as someone who has already passed that particular milestone just a couple of years ago.
Okay.
Look, you know, it's up to you, and the choices that you make, it gets better and better. I, honest to God, would not go back to 30 for all the money in the world. It's better now than it was then. So I say that to encourage you, keep building what you're building, because if you're in a place that you can be proud of, there's no reason to sweat that number, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. And I have every confidence 31 is going to even be better than 30. So really good things are coming together based on the choices you're making and the work that you're putting in. So don't let that number scare you. It should be pretty exciting for you.
Exactly. Yeah, I mentioned it the other day to James, like this is a new era for me.
Yeah.
You know, it's pretty crazy, but this is a new era for a new me at the end of the day.
There you go. I mean, just like that polar plunge, just like that New Year's Day, it's just, you know, it's just another day. We know that, but it's kind of a nice mental exercise to say, hey, this is a milestone, and I can set some goals going forward from here, because, you know, that's a point in time that we can measure. So I'm excited for you.
That's exactly what we talked about too when I spoke with him. Some goals. So yeah.
Good.
Everything.
Well, and I'm excited. I know I signed the order for you to enjoy the curfew incentive and so forth. So I expect you'll make good use of that, and you'll make good choices. But you've earned it, and I think that you have a lot of cause for gratitude as you celebrate this milestone.
Yeah, I definitely do, and I really appreciate you signing that. Yeah. I mean, I know I'm not going to use it to the full extent, but it's nice to know that it's not hanging over my head.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm 30's catching up already, so I'm sleeping.
Well, it allows you to be with family. It allows you to do that. And so I'm excited for you to do that.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Your Honor. I really do. It means a lot.
Good. Well, keep up the good work, Mr. Paradiso. Great job.
Will do. Thank you. You have a great day.
Let me check in. Next with Mr. Victoria.
How you doing, Your Honor?
I'm doing okay, Mr. Victoria. How are you doing?
I'm all right. Just dealing with a few things, but besides that, everything's okay.
Okay. You got let out of jail early, based on, you know, your commitment to doing some things. How do you feel you're doing in terms of living up to what you indicated you planned to do when you got out?
You know, I'm getting there. I'm putting my effort in. I need to put a little more. I know that, but
tell me, what specifically do you think you need to put some more effort into?
I kind of just got thrown off this week because I had a death go on, so like kind of just threw me off. Like my first day out, I wasn't expecting to come home off rip to that, so I kind of haven't really been too focused. But I kind of cleared my head out this week, and I'm ready to start a fresh week and get back in the groove with everything.
You indicated that somebody close to you was very ill. Is that who you lost last week?
No, I ended up losing one of my friends.
Okay.
My grandfather, he's now in the hospital in Miami, so I'm not going to really be able to see him too much because he's all the way out there.
Pardon the question, but did you lose the friend to an overdose?
No, he ended up getting robbed and shot.
Oh, geez. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, far too often, I know you all have suffered loss from overdose. That's part of why I asked the question, because it can really affect your mental state a couple different ways. It can make you throw your hands up, or it can make you recommit. Well, so tell me about what you've been trying to do here.
I'm right now. I've been trying to get I'm getting with one of the people from my meetings, so I'm trying to get a sponsor right now.
Okay.
Working on that, so I have a little more support, and then I'm trying to at least get back into or start doing the one-on-ones with James. We talked about it already, so I guess this week will be the first time.
Okay. All right. Well,
and then,
go ahead.
And then I'm gonna change my IOP or whatever. I'm going to David Lawrence and the Golden Gate area.
Okay.
To do it face to face, pretty much.
How do you feel about that?
I'd like it a lot better.
Okay. Yeah, it seems like it may be a better fit. I know that these video things are pretty challenging, and it may be easier to do this one-on-one than to do this with a group, but I appreciate treatment's thinking on that might be a better fit for you, and I just encourage you, obviously, take advantage of that opportunity.
Of course.
One thing I was concerned about, I did get an update, and I have done this long enough to know when I need to worry about people, places, and things. Why do I raise that with you now?
Yesterday I was kind of nervous because when I got done working, it was kind of late, and I only had like 5 minutes to get home yesterday. And my boss was speeding, so like kind of got pulled over. So I texted Nikki, letting her know ahead of the time, like I might be 2-3 minutes late, because I don't know how that works with St. Matt's if you're late.
Okay. And it was your boss that was giving you a ride back to St. Matt's?
Yeah, but he ended up like speeding up a little down the airport and got pulled over. So like the cop let me go because I told him I was on drug court. He told me like, all right, so
okay.
I had to be back at St. Matt's.
Tell me again where you're working.
Reeves Moving Company.
Okay. You guys were moving and pushing curfew on a moving job?
We were clearing a job on Marco. We had to go to Marco, and then we had to drop something off at his warehouse, and then he was driving me back.
Okay. All right. Well, I was told that you very promptly reported the contact with law enforcement and the concern that you had with the curfew. You've got to, I know you're relying on somebody else for transportation, but you guys can't be cutting it that close, or it's gonna cause you even more problems. So if the job is a good fit, great. But if the job is going to consistently put you in that kind of a situation, you may need to look for something different.
Yeah, I'm switching jobs. One of the guys from St. Matt's, the caseworker I have in St. Matt's, is getting me one with one of his friends. So
you're going to be able to maybe switch jobs?
Yeah, I'm switching jobs.
Okay. Well, I know it's easy for me to say you're dealing with a bunch of different obligations, but I'm glad that you are pushing to try to find a better fit with the job. I think it's worth the effort and the energy you're doing, because if you can find a job that fits well, I know there's several guys on this call that are fortunate enough to have a job that's fitting well for them. It makes all the difference in the world. So it's worth whatever frustration it might cause for you to try to make that jump. Hang in there and make that work. The other thing I want to just reiterate, and it sounds like you're already ahead of me, so that's good, is I just want to remind you that you have committed. We let you out and we brought you back into treatment on the promise that you were going to do everything treatment asks and give it 100% effort. So I gather there's been some distractions and there's been some setbacks. I'm not imposing any sanction or anything today, but I am issuing a friendly warning. You got to turn the page on distractions, on any friends that are not directly supportive. Remember when I gave you a pretty stern lecture when you were still in jail about it's time to man up. It's time to give us your best effort. Distractions will not work in the space that you're in. So if the distractions are a big enough deal, just tell me, hey, Judge, I got to tap out of drug court. I can't be doing this. I got other stuff I got to focus on. If you do, I'll respect it. I mean, similar to what I was saying to Mr. Mattingly earlier. But if you're in, you got to be all in. And so the other stuff you're going to have to figure out. I think there was a suggestion, hey, look, your phone has a do not disturb function. Turn it on, right? Literally shut off the distractions. Don't jump on social media if that's something you do. It is a terrible distraction when you're trying to do everything you're doing. Cut the noise down as best you can. Okay, that's my friendly advice and my warning. If you're following through with what treatment's having you do, you're going to be square with me. But if I hear another report that he's cutting everything razor thin, he's at the last second here, he's at the last second there, he's distracted, he's not paying attention, hey, that's just going to tell me what I need to know, which is I got to give up your seat in drug court to somebody who wants to do the work.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
moving on. So that's not my preference, but if your actions tell me that's your preference, I'll act on it. Okay, so communicate with your actions that you're committed and you're focused. You don't have to be perfect, but you definitely better be putting the work in, okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Victoria, anything that you want to add or anything else that you want to address?
The 20, I'm kind of confused on my court dates right now because I got a whole bunch of different ones. I got one, I think, next month, and then I don't know if I have one the 28th.
Yeah, let me look at that real quickly. February 11th is the status on your violation of probation. So I'll be talking to you again, I think twice before that rolls around. So I'll let you know whether I need you to jump on the Zoom that Thursday morning or whether I can excuse you. If you're in compliance, if you're doing everything treatment's asking you to do, usually I can tell you, don't worry about it. We'll take care of that date for you. But it's about a 2-week heads up for you that we need to see much tighter concentration from you, okay?
All right.
Okay, any other questions? That was a good question.
No, that's all.
Okay, Mr. Victoria, I look forward to a good report next week.
No problem. Thank you.
All right, let me check in next with Mr. Brestol. Just trying to bounce around randomly here, guys.
Hello,
Mr.
Your
Brestol,
Honor.
how are you doing?
I am doing very well, very well. Been dealing with some stuff with my son, family, and his behavior and whatnot, but I think it's progressing in the right direction. I got a promotion at work, which I'm ecstatic about.
Okay.
Yeah, it was like perfect timing too, because I'm eligible to get my license tomorrow. So I was like, yes, sweet. There is something I did want to address and ask you though.
Okay.
I've been looking at the handbooks.
Yeah.
And and so in the old handbook it's in phase 3, in the new handbook it's in like phase 4, but I think that's kind of where I'm at. It says drug offender probation converted to regular probation and curfew lifted. See, when I got to phase 3, my curfew was lifted, but I'm still on drug offender probation, and I was hoping that I could get converted to regular state probation. I don't know if you could do anything for me there. It's just
usually the order that I sign does do both in the same order, so I don't know if anybody on the team.
No, it didn't, because the probation doesn't register with that, because I've been trying to tell them that, but they don't really want to hear it. They're really going off the basic order that you first gave me, and I don't really want to argue with them and stuff.
No, you're right.
So,
I'm pulling.
I feel like I've no sanctions, no positive UAs or anything, and now that they're making me go down there like twice a week to go, because I'm still on drug offender probation. I was just hoping I could maybe.
Yeah, it's a good question. I have the order in front of me that the state attorney's office actually prepared when we phased you. It says the remaining balance of your probation is converted from drug offender probation to regular probation, and the curfew is lifted. All other terms of probation are in effect. So it might just be that they haven't actually noticed that more recent order that I signed December 8th.
Okay, so when you go to regular probation, do you still have to call the line? And because they just started the color thing, and it says in my original contract, I have to go. I was going down there once a week to do a UA, but now the way my new probation officer is reading it is I have to go down there twice a week, because it says in my contract I have to do 2 UAs at minimum, but they're not like counting anything I do with David Lawrence. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that may be a better question for your attorney, because I have to be careful about getting too deep into that or giving you advice. I just wanted to at least confirm that our order says what I thought it says, which it does. You're in regular probation. But as far as the UAs and so forth, I might have you double check with your attorney, or it may be that one of the case managers or probation officers can look at your judgment and see what that is, because that's not something that I can answer without.
Yeah, it just says it just says I have to do 2 minimum per week, but it doesn't say I have to do them with probation, and that's how they're reading it. You know what I mean?
I do. That's something that we've been discussing, just trying to sort of figure out how that goes. But that's going to be something the team's going to manage between probation and David Lawrence. So I can't answer that without getting out of my lane. But I can tell you that you're not on drug offender probation. So you are still in drug court, and you are still, I would imagine, calling the line and doing those things. But curfew's lifted and the drug offender probation is. So did you have private counsel or public defender?
Yeah, I had a private counsel.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just because last week I was going down there for like the first 7.5 months, once a week, and doing a UA once a week. And now they're trying to make me go down there twice a week now. And it's just like, oh, I mean, everything's good, you know, why we want more?
Well, you might double check. I just looked up. So it was Lisa Mead, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's pretty good. I know some folks lock their door after you finish your case with them. I think she's pretty good in not doing that. But you might just reach to her and ask if she would mind clarifying that. And it might be something that we can clarify for you. But it wouldn't be something where I'm comfortable, handing down an edict in the middle of court.
Okay.
Okay. But I can tell you finished drug offender probation, that you're on regular, because you're absolutely correct. That is in our handbook, and that is what we did.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Thanks for clarifying that.
Yeah. But reach out to Ms. Mead to see if she can clarify what's going on with that. And that's really the best way to handle that second question.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Other questions that you have, or other things that you wanted to address with us?
That was just like the most recent thing that kind of popped to mind. I mean, everything else is really going great with me. I mean, my whole life is trending in the right direction. I'm just trying to make it more simple.
Yeah. Well, how did you enjoy the volunteer outing the other day?
Oh, I thought it was great. I had a good time with the guys. My table sold the most waters, or I passed out the most waters.
Very, very good. Very good. Do you think you got a half marathon in you someday?
Ooh, I don't know. I struggle with. I got a 5K. I give you that.
Okay. How about that lead runner though? Have you ever seen somebody move that fast and then figure out that he's going that same speed for all 13 miles?
It's incredible.
It's pretty cool, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think there's anyone here that could do that speed for 1 mile. We might with a lot of training, but yes, sub 5 minute miles times 13.
Wow.
And those guys, they increase their pace as they go through the race. So what you saw wasn't the fastest that he went. It really pretty inspiring.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I'll hold you to the 5K. I hope the promotion at work doesn't keep you from being able to occasionally do some stuff like that. I give props to James for nudging you a little bit to come out and join us on a good golf day.
Yeah. No, it shouldn't hold me back at all from running.
Good. Well, we're going to work on some things. I think the next race is January 30, which I think supports the Humane Society. But I'll get with the case managers and make sure that they're on the mailing list with the information and so forth. Active participants in drug court get their entry fee comped. So it's something that I hope at least a few of you will take advantage of. And it's a goal. It's a little bit of a challenge that can be a lot of fun.
Awesome.
Good. Well, keep up the good work, and good luck tomorrow on the final step of getting the driver's license. I know that'll be a big deal. Congrats on the promotion. A lot of good things. It's all based on the choices that you're making. So keep it up.
Thank you.
Well done. Let me check in next with Mr. Gallegos.
Can you hear me, Your Honor?
I can. How you doing, Mr. Gallegos?
I'm doing well. I'm blessed as can be.
Good. What's been going on for you?
Nothing really new. Just same old stuff. Like I say it all the time. Staying focused, staying in the present, not letting my mind wander. That's one thing me and Brooke have been, talking about a lot is focusing maybe on that one thing where we're still holding on to that we can't let go. So You know, that's been a big help for me for the past few weeks. You know, she's actually given me a sheet and been writing it down, and it's working little by little. You know, I can't rush into it. You know, I really got to think about these things.
Yeah.
But like I said, everything's good. Like I said, I'm blessed, working. Still looking for the sponsor.
Okay.
But just got my car back too. I went about 6-7 weeks without it, and man, it was rough, but I still maintained, and I got it back. So I'm just thankful for that.
Good. I think that's some good stuff. You know, I'm always preaching about the power of the pen and the importance of writing some things down. It puts a whole lot more energy into that goal when you actually write it down. So have you found any benefit to that yet, or is it too soon to tell?
Well, I don't want to say it's too soon to tell, but I could feel inside that it does work, because like when you write it down, it's different and it's powerful. It really is. So I feel like, yes, it is working. Good.
Well, I'm glad that it's working for you, and you know, treatment gave a good report that you are trending in the right direction, that they're starting to see you start to recognize some of that potential that you were hiding from us in the early weeks. So I'm pleased to hear that. Keep it up.
Right. Yes. And I'm thankful, like I said, for Brooke, James, Nikki. They're always, you know, bending over backwards for us, and I do recognize that, and I'll be the first one to say I do appreciate that, and I'm just thankful to have them, you know, helping me with anything I need. But yes, thank you.
Well, keep doing it. The team is there. If you're putting the work in, you're going to see the results. And I think you were trying in the early going. It wasn't the full effort. Now you're starting to make the full effort, and you can see just how powerful this team is if you let them do what they're here to do.
Yes, that's true. That's 100% true. And yeah, like I said, if any little thing, I'm calling Brooke, or I'm getting a hold of somebody. You know, something I didn't do before. You know, I do realize I can't do it all on my own. So, you know, I'm just thankful to have that.
Good. That's part of the honesty. That's part of accountability. And those are habits that will keep you safe and successful long after drug court. So keep doing what you're doing.
Right. Yes. And I just wanted to say thank you for the curfew thing. You know, had a good time fishing out, and me and Omar. So
good.
Yes.
Well, you guys earned that, and I was happy to do it, and happy we were able to get that put together for you. So, you know, having good, healthy ways to go recharge the batteries, have a little bit of fun, you know, network with people in recovery, all of that's good stuff. So I was happy to support that.
Yes. Thank you.
All right, well, keep up the good work, Mr. Gallegos. Great job.
Thank you.
How about Mr. O'Brien?
How you doing, Your Honor?
I'm doing okay, Mr. O'Brien. How are you doing?
Doing good. Great to see you.
Good to see you. What you been working on this week?
I've been since the MRT group opened up and I was able to be a part of it. That's kind of been like my main focus.
Okay.
I mean, that group is like right up my alley in many aspects. You know what I mean? From how I approach the recovery itself. You know what I mean? So, and it kind of it speaks a lot about what's going to help me stay clean, about like like I'm able to relate with it because it's like really along the lines of what got me into my active addiction itself. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I love it. I look forward to it every day. You know, it treats like the whole person. You know, it's not just touching the surface. It actually goes deep. You know, and as far as like the behavior and attitude aspect of it, that's like what I need to stay focused on. That's what I've been working on. It's, you know, it gives you healthy ways to look at yourself. Like I've been asked probably 2 or 3 times now since I started the group, like what I've learned from it. So I've actually been trying to focus on that question because the last 2 times I was asked, I was like, man, I'm not learning nothing that I didn't already know, but it's more or less like it's helping me reflect on my past and things that I've done.
Yeah.
But now, you know, when I start putting thought into the question and, you know, digging a little deeper, I have learned a lot. You know, I've learned that all right. So I'm learning what it's trying to teach, so to speak. You know what I mean? So like I'm getting a good grasp on it. I love the group.
Good.
I've had a few new things come about in the past week. My dad had kind of hinted around the question of me going back to work with him again. So I mean that's good, but it's not like I talked to James about it a little bit. I couldn't give him an answer right then and there. You know what I mean? So I kind of blew the question off. We were at dinner at his house cooking some pork chops on the fire. So, but it had gotten brought up. But I kind of like pushed the question to the side because when I was working for him before, it wasn't the greatest relationship between me and him. You know what I mean? There's a lot that we'd have to discuss before I would be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna come back working for you. You know what I mean? Because it's not going to be the same as what it was before. You know, like there's just a lot to talk about. So, you know, that's something new. I had gotten a call from my brother's girlfriend yesterday morning. She was freaking out. She didn't know what to do, but my brother's motorcycle was stolen from River Reach over the night.
Okay.
So she had called me, and I'm like, well, what do you want me to do, Nina? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, call the cops, make a report, you know, do your insurance claim on it. I mean, that's all you can do. You know what I mean? She's like, how do I tell him? She's like, I was leaving to go to work, and I noticed the motorcycle was gone. I'm like, I don't know what you want me to do. You know what I mean?
Not really your business. So.
Yeah. So I had tried, I tried ignoring the whole situation, and I wanted to, it took everything out of me not to text my brother and, you know, like say sorry or say some kind of acknowledgement towards it. And I'm like, man, I ain't saying nothing. I ain't bringing it up. I ain't contacting him. I already know how he feels. I know how I would feel.
Yeah.
So,
well, I think
but he ended up texting me. Sorry. What was that?
Well, I was going to say, I'm unfortunately, I'm running out of time because I've got a really big docket today, but I wanted to emphasize the point that you made with MRT. And by the way, I hear good things about your participation and the level of effort that you're giving that. So I think that's great. You know, some of our harder conversations over your time in drug court have been, you're clean, you're complying, but you're still showing the behavior of somebody who's using. And MRT is really meant to help you actually make sober living choices and not keep the old mindset, even though you're super clean. Yes, so I think it's a great fit. I love James for giving it all the energy that he has. And I love hearing that you're seeing the value of that to you, because this is exactly it. It's the missing puzzle piece. Drug court in the past was good at getting people to stay clean, but if they couldn't fix the old behavior patterns, they might end up in trouble again anyway. So this is really good stuff, and I'm thrilled to hear that you're really diving into it.
Yes, man, I love it. Like I said, I look forward to it. I'm always anxious to get in there and, you know, present my work or whatever I've done. You know, like I take pride in it. I love it. I enjoy it.
Well, keep giving it the level of effort that you have, and I think it's really going to be a big piece of the puzzle for you to help you not just reach your goals, but keep them and keep building on them. So great job.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Mr. Keene, let me touch base with you next.
How you doing, Your Honor?
I'm doing okay, Mr. Keene. How are you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. I totally expected to be the last one you called.
No, unfortunately, I just got a lot of you, and I'm trying to sort of randomly work my way through. So
I see that.
What's going on for you?
Not a whole lot, you know, just staying true to the program and working it to the best of my ability. Not much has changed. I don't think. Actually, yeah. I went to court and we finalized the reunification with my son. Everything did go accordingly. I forgot that I missed a week, so I haven't seen you since then. So I got my son back now. And then other than that, yeah, everything's going great. You know?
Okay. Yeah, you're right. You were right on the doorstep of that process last time we spoke. So everything went okay.
Yes, ma'am. We're set for June 17th for the finalizing everything.
Okay.
I don't know exactly which day it is. I just know the date. So I might as well bring it up to your attention so it doesn't mess anything up with you guys.
talk to treatment about that, because they'll be the ones, if there is any conflict, that they'll notify me and manage that for you. So stay in touch with case management on that. Yeah, okay. I was double checking something. So that's wonderful news. And does he live with you full time now as a result of that?
Absolutely.
How's that going?
It can be trying at times. He is about to turn 3 in April, so he's a mini me. And he's just he could be the most loving, sweetest little boy you've ever met in your life, or as last night went, he could be the biggest terror.
Okay.
And
well, that doesn't sound anything like you, Mr. Keene.
I sense the sarcasm.
Well, look, here's the thing. It's not too late to show them how to be.
Exactly. So it was actually, honestly, I kind of missed it, the ups and downs of having them around.
Yeah.
And because life's not perfect. There's going to be ups and downs. There's going to be happy days, bad days, sad days. So it was a nice dose of reality, to bring me back to where I need to be, and know that not every day is going to be perfect, but you can get through it.
Yeah. Well, I think that I also got a nice update as far as your efforts in that MRT group. And I think that's also going to be well timed. A lot of those techniques and tools and skills that you're learning there, real helpful for a parent who's raising somebody that may have some of the same, decision making going on. You're going to go forward as a much more educated parent.
Oh, most definitely. I didn't want to. Shane had just talked about that, Mr. O'Brien, so I wasn't going to be repetitive with it, but absolutely, it's a lot of fun being in that program, and it is definitely useful in everyday life to open your eyes up to what you've done and where you should be headed and where you should be going and what you should be doing.
Yeah. Well, I'm very pleased to hear that it's going well and that you're making good use of it. And as I said earlier, the trend is in the right direction. That's all we really ultimately worry about. The progress is being made. So keep up the good work. Great job.
Thank you so much, Your Honor.
Let me check in next with Mr. Gonzalez.
How you doing, Your Honor?
I'm doing okay, Mr. Gonzalez. How are you doing?
I am fantastic.
How come?
Just things are really good. Let's see what's new. I made my second restitution payment a little bit before court, so I've got one left to do on that one, at least as far as the restitution is concerned.
Okay.
I briefly spoke with the pastor's wife over the weekend about starting a Celebrate Recovery group up there as well, because where I'm doing Celebrate Recovery, they only do one a week. I spoke with James this morning, and he suggested me kind of stepping to the guy that runs the one that I'm going to, and kind of see if he can mentor me into starting one, or if not, see if they're open to holding another one there at that church another day of the week, and maybe possibly let me run that one, or so that's really good. I'm really looking forward to building that relationship. Friday I go speak at the Willow. It'll be my first speaking appearance, so that's cool. I got back in the gym this morning. I've been slacking on that for about a week, 2 weeks, so it was good to get back to it. Everything's just awesome. Everything's just really good.
Okay. Well, that sounds like that's a great report in terms of, it looks like you're really making good progress on balance, on trying to put recovery where you need it and balance that out with some time for yourself. That gym time is critical. But you're putting together a really nice picture there. And if you can increase the amount of Celebrate Recovery support in the community one way or the other, that's a great service commitment right out of the gates. That's all really good stuff.
Yes, ma'am.
That's a good, we talked a few weeks ago about a funk, taking on a project like setting up a Celebrate Recovery group, hitting the gym. Those are both really good things that you can do to really help stay out of that funk space. But if you find yourself in it, to help move yourself through it more quickly, it's good stuff.
Yes, ma'am.
Any problems, challenges, anything that we can be doing, Mr. Gonzalez?
Not at all.
All right. Well, I'm also very pleased to hear the progress on the restitution. I know the state attorney always appreciates that. You can, sometimes you can't do more than you can do, but every time that you guys are able to actually do that a little bit ahead of schedule or pay a little bit more or whatever, I promise you that that's appreciated on the other end with the person who is receiving those payments. Plus, it's part of what you're working on in a 12-step program. So that's also really good progress. I'm glad you've been able to put some emphasis on that for yourself.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good. Keep up the good work, Mr. Gonzalez. Great job.
I appreciate it.
How about Mr. Moreno? I'll check in with you next.
How you doing, Your Honor?
I'm doing okay. How are you doing?
Recovering. I had a little accident at work a couple weeks ago. My uncle had dropped a log on my foot. I was working for him, and he was operating a bobcat, and putting the logs into a chipper, and he pushed it the wrong way, and so it was just a big mess. It fell on my foot, and I've been, trying to catch up. I don't want to fall back on restitution payments. Everything's going great. I'm definitely keeping my recovery first. You know what I mean? Going to all in-persons, participate. Me and Courtney hang out a lot. Chris, just keeping small circle but strong circle. Okay. And I'm sorry for today. I'm just with my boss. Like I told you, I'm on break. I'm just riding around in the truck. But okay. Yeah, he got me headphones and all. But I'm really sorry about that. And yes, thank you for the overnight and all that. But everything's great, Your Honor. I can't complain. I'm off the medication. Everything's going. I left everything in God's hands this time, and He's doing miracles in my life. So it's just everything's coming together besides this little accident I had. So can't complain.
Okay. Well, that's a good report, and I appreciate everything that you've said. If you can just, you'll make arrangements going forward to be free and clear on Tuesday afternoon. So wherever you are, you can be focused just on drug court. But it sounds like things are going well. One thing I would ask with regard to the medication, I know you were working with treatment. It was important not to use that medication. Will you promise me that you'll speak up if you get down the road and you decide that it might be appropriate for you to consider that medication again?
Yes, ma'am, I will do.
Just keep an open mind. If you don't end up needing it, fine. Everybody's different with this stuff. I just want to make sure that if a tool might be helpful to you, that you're gonna keep an open mind about using it if you need it.
Yes, ma'am, I will do. I'm very open with with Brooke, with James, and those. Yeah. So if anything pops up, I will let them know. Right away. So I'm definitely keeping my recovery first this time. So.
Good. Well, I think that shows. I'm hearing good reports that you're really putting the effort in and so forth. And as I said earlier, I was happy to sign off on the incentive and give you guys a night to recharge and hassle some fish out there. Did you catch anything?
Yes, ma'am. Caught a couple, but Chris beat me fishing, so.
Well, I think, fishing in particular, but there's the gym, there's like all kinds of ways that guys over the years have found to just to get out and reset your brain a little bit and recharge your batteries. I think it's great. I want to support it anytime that I can. And I'm glad that you guys were able to do that. As you get deeper into the program, eventually you won't have the curfew, and that may be something that you're able to do more often. But as long as it's part of a healthy routine and you're staying on top of your obligations, fitting that stuff in is important. So good for you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
All right, let me check in with Mr. Spadarico. Welcome back, Mr. Spadarico.
Thank you, Your Honor.
How are you doing?
Well, I'm changing my routine.
Okay.
I went to Crossroads, and it's the first time that I've ever been in any rehabilitation place quite ever in my entire life. And I feel that I wasn't asking enough questions to the drug court counselors. Like I listened to what they said, but I wasn't asking enough questions. And as I reiterate to myself, asking for help is a strength. But I never exercised the coping skills that they gave me. I never, and I think I'm going to put forth a little bit more or everything into this because I can't go backwards. And I appreciate everything that drug court's done for me, and you as well. I feel that I disappointed you, myself, and others. And I know I can't do this alone.
Okay.
And accountability is a lot. I have a sponsor, a good one that I met down there at Crossroads. I have a home group, the 24-hour club, and I'm doing everything in my strength and my power to not have another relapse and to be proactive and drug.
Okay. Well, I think that's great, and I am thrilled but not surprised. I'm thrilled that you had a good experience at Crossroads. They have really, over the years, they have put together a fantastic program there with a lot of different resources, a lot of different angles that you can continue to explore even after you finish with them. And I encourage you to keep up with anything there that you found that might be helpful to you.
It kind of reminds me of Hooked on Phonics. You know what I mean? Like pound it in your head, a daily routine. And I was listening, and I wrote down. I have this whole book is just full of information that I wrote down that I was listening, and putting forth this knowledge is the other half of it. It's not just writing on a piece of paper. So that's what I'm practicing.
Well, good. I think that you were making a very good effort before, but there were just, maybe there were just a few things that were being missed. And it was our hope that Crossroads might help you kind of figure out what else you need to be focusing on in order to put something together for yourself that you can sustain.
Well, thank you. And like I said, I do apologize for my relapse. However, do I have to go to court on February 4th? Is that a court date for me?
I will let you know next week how things are going. Really, I just need to ensure that you continue to comply with whatever treatment has you doing. If everything's going well, usually I'm able to excuse people from that, but we'll talk about that. I think I'll be seeing you weekly for a bit, and we'll talk about that next week. I'll let you know if I need you for that. If I do, it'll simply be by Zoom like this. But my main concern, I'm fairly certain, as long as if treatment's able to tell me he's doing everything we've asked, then I'll probably have you skip that, okay?
Okay.
Let me clarify one point, Mr. Spadarico, as I appreciated what you said, but I want to be real clear. You didn't disappoint me. You certainly didn't disappoint me by relapsing. Where I might have to confess a little bit of disappointment is with regard to the honesty. I know I said it when you were still in custody that, hey, you're not in jail because you relapsed. You're in jail because you didn't tell us about it. And so, the process of recovery, the journey is something that I get. I don't expect it to be a straight line. I sure as heck don't expect it to be, a straight line straight up. There's going to be some twists and turns. But what I do expect is that you're honest with us. And I certainly expect that in light of the grace that the team afforded you to give you that opportunity in Crossroads, I expect you going forward to be better at the honesty side of things. You don't have to be perfect. There might, unfortunately, be other mistakes that come along, but the honesty's got to improve. So you understand the difference there?
Yes, I do.
Okay. My disappointment is only that you really let yourself down because you're capable of better honesty. But we move forward. I'm not looking to you to drag around any guilt or shame or remorse. None of that's helpful. Ditch that. Let's just work on moving forward and doing better.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Welcome back, Mr. Spadarico.
I'm happy to be back.
What I'm going to do now, I know I've got one more conversation, but I'm going to let all of the guys go ahead and drop off. Mr. Reed, I'll have you stick around as my aftercare person. the team will stick around, but everybody else is, I'm going to go ahead and excuse you, let you drop off. I'll talk to you